Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming to my session this afternoon. I feel it's an honor for me to present and discuss about Sibelius and his songs in his native land. In 2009, I was introduced to Sibelius songs for the first time while my tenure at Sibelius Academy as an exchange student. I remember how I was struck by the fact that Sibelius was a prolific song composer and I had not known any of his songs. I hope today's lecture recital will be a good introduction for you, especially for those who are not familiar with these songs. John Sibelius was born in 1865. He was a leading Finnish nationalist composer, and he was especially famous for his orchestral works, his 7 symphonies, and his Tom Poem Finlandia, all of which received international reputation right away. Still today, Sibelius is considered a Finnish national icon. 94 songs out of 110 Sibelius songs were written in Swedish. However, this raises our eyebrows because it's known to us as the leading Finnish nationalist composer. There are a few important history facts to learn in order to understand and answer this question about Sibelius songs being written in Swedish. Finland belonged to Sweden for 6 centuries, and then Alexander I, Russian emperor, defeated Swedish troops in Finland in 1808. Then he declared Finland as an autonomous Grand Duchy of Russia. The Finnish language and the national awakening was developed under Russian emperors as a part of a colonial plan. Alexander II especially encouraged Finns to find their national identity. And the nation thrived under his throne. Even after Finland became the Grand Duchy of Russia, there was a small group of Swedish people still remained in Finland as an upper class. Ironically, these Swedish-speaking people, were the people who developed national identity, language, and the national awakening. Before 1863, Swedish was the only language used in administration, public institutions, education, and cultural life. In 1863, only a couple of years before Sibelius was born, Finnish became an official language for administration. However, it took another 30 years for it to be seen as equal status to Swedish language. Sibelius' family was Swedish-speaking upper class in Finland. Sibelius grew up speaking Swedish at home, and Swedish was his primary language throughout his life. Because the Swedish upper class in Finland laid the foundation for national awakening and language, because of that fact, majority of Finnish nationalist literatures were written in Swedish. Swedish speakers were minority in Finland, however, their influence was great. Kimborg, a celebrated Finnish bass, explained in his article that Swedish was better established than Finnish as a literary form around Sibelius' time. Despite the fact that Sibelius was a prolific song composer and his songs deserve better reputation, his songs have hardly been performed outside of Scandinavian countries. His songs were completely overshadowed by his orchestral pieces. Sibelius' songs still remained veiled in mystery primarily because of the Swedish text used to create them. Sibelius developed his own idioms for his songwritings, which may sound unconventional to those who are familiar with German lieder or French melodies. For songs by Wolf, Brahms, Debussy, or Fauré, words dominate over the resulting music. However, Sibelius absorbed an over-impression of a given poem and expressed a broad atmosphere by using repeated motifs and broad musical structures. Sibelius' characteristic vocal writing originated from his orchestral writing style. Especially his tone poem, vast idea of a program creates an over-expression throughout music without being bound to individual words or its meaning. Valerie Sirène, from the Sibelius Companion, described Sibelius' songwriting style. Quote, in contrast to the usual techniques of word painting and musical coloring of feeling, Sibelius songs are plastic. The words, vocal line, and piano part fuse to create a single impression. The relationship of the poem to the music in Sibelius songs is quite different from the songs of other composers. Like his orchestral tone poems, the poem provides a program rather than verses to be spoken, end quote. According to Santi Leves, who was a long-time private secretary to Sibelius, Sibelius himself said, quote, "My songs can also be sung without words. They are not so dependent on words as the songs of many other composers," end quote. In some sense, Sibelius' songs remind listeners of Beethoven's. Both men were renowned symphonic composers. However, they were not very sympathetic to human voice when they composed songs. Kim Borg further explained in his article, quote, "Singers very often shake their heads at composers who do not seem to be aware of the limitations of the human voice. It is also quite possible that the composer's unorthodox writing horrifies many Orthodox souls, especially in German-speaking world," end quote. Sibelius was closely associated with the Finland's Swedish-speaking nobility and upper-class poets, many of which were very active in the nationalist movement. Today, I would like to pay special attention to Johann Ludwig Runeberg. Runeberg was a patriotic poet who wrote the Tales of Ensign Stahl. This book particularly constructed Finnish identity and defined the lives of the Finns. In Finland, people paid him much respect with a museum, statues, and a day in his honor. He wrote about the nature, the religion, and the patriotism in a very highly romantic style. His poems were in short lines, simple words, and very easy forms, which made his poems perfectly suitable for songs. Throughout Sibelius' life, Sibelius was under very strong influence of Runeberg, especially for his songs. Both Sibelius and Runeberg wrote their works in Swedish, however they identified themselves as Finns. For the second part of lecture recital, I would like to present 5 representative songs by Sibelius. Please help me welcome Dr. Woo Kang on the piano. The first selection is Sav Sav Susa. You will hear in the middle section of this song a quasi-recitative style, which is a pillar characteristic of Sibelius' songwriting style. Inga is a main character in this song. She committed a suicide because of her rural friends who were jealous of her wealth, youth, beauty, and her young lover. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to perform for you Saf Saf Sisa. Selection is called Illade, meaning to evening in Finnish. The poet was Ave Forsman Koskinies, and his wife's name was also Illade, so it has a double meaning. One is dedicated song to his wife Illade, and the other is literally to evening. Sibelius composed most of his songs in Swedish, and this was one of his very few Finnish songs that he wrote. Sibelius was trying to be very sensitive to the inflection of the Finnish language in this song, and as a result, oh, by the way, Finnish sounds somewhat monotonous, so he tried to imitate the Finnish inflection in this song, so as a result, he ended up writing 73 E-flat 5s and 13 F5s, a total number of 86 transitional notes between head and chest. It's an excessive number of traditional notes within a song. And this shows as an example that Sibelius was not very sympathetic to human voice. I'd like to sing for you, however, Illade for you. our famous Spanish poet here, Johann Ludwig Grunberg, wrote this poem. You'll hear word painting, which is a main characteristic in German lieder style. And there are two contrasting sections in this song, which matches the two contrasting poetic structure. The first section is about a statement how spring flies quickly while winter lingers longer. And the second section is a statement by a boy who says he will spend time with his beloved really well no matter the season. I would like to sing for you, Våren flyttas. Our final selection is Flickan kom ifrån sin älsklingsmöte. Again, the poet is our famous poet, Johann Ludwig Grunberg. It is one of the best known songs by Sibelius. He intensified the drama with octave syncopation and dense texture. You'll hear it from the piano accompaniment that the music is reminiscent of Tchaikovsky. So there are two characters in this song. One is a mother and the other is a daughter. The daughter has been lying to his mother about her secretive meeting with her lover, which is in D-flat major. And then he finally confides in her mother about what truly happened in the past, and it becomes C-sharp minor. I'd like to perform our final selection, Flickan kom ifrån sin älsklingsmöte.